Hello, and from Toronto, welcome to the Black Sweater Talk podcast. I'm your host, Marcus Lopez. Every day, I show up to focus on my passion, which is writing. Back in 2017, I stopped waiting for the traditional publishers to pick me and ventured into the wilderness that is self-publishing. I'm here to share my journey about what it's like chasing a dream. The ups and downs, the success and failures, the hope and doubt, the lessons learned. And I hope you'll be inspired to chase your dream and live your best life. Ready? Let's get started. Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. Arthur Ashe. Life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. Vivian Green. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. And don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. Steve Jobs. You can either waltz boldly onto the stage of life and live the way you know your spirit is nudging you to, or you can sit quietly by the wall, receding into the shadows of fear and self-doubt. Oprah Winfrey. We must believe that we are gifted for something, and that this thing, at whatever cost, must be attained. Marie Curie. Risk more than others think is safe. Dream more than others think is practical. Howard Schultz. I've learned that making a living is not the same thing as making a life. Maya Angelou. Anyone who knows me, or if you've been following my writing journey for even just a few months, you've probably figured out that one of my biggest challenges is social media. It's actually a love-hate relationship because I do everything to run away from it. I've just never been drawn to social media. I struggle with Facebook and Instagram and posting content regularly because I want to be out there living life. I want to be out enjoying it. And while I want to share my experiences, I've just never been comfortable with platforms like Instagram. I try. I do my best, but I'm also not looking to become a social media star. So that's why for me, most of my sharing comes through my blog and through my newsletter with those who subscribe to my mailing list. One of the things I've always struggled with is the idea of taking time to rest and actually making it practical and doing it on a regular basis. In the past year, however, I've been trying to do that, not just talk about it, but actually put it into practice in my own life. I did that in December. I went off the grid, no posting on social media, no blog posts, nothing. I just really withdrew from the world. And that actually carried over into January. So when it came to COVID-19, I was actually really behind the ball. I wasn't taking it as seriously at the time. Because I was really uninformed. I didn't even know what was really happening until about February and going into March, where I understood how serious it was. So I decided again in August that I needed time to rest and recharge. I needed to take a step back. I needed time to develop perspective on where I am and where I want to go. And again, the biggest way for me to do that, to actually get some value out of resting and not doing a lot, is to step back from social media. And I was hesitant because, we're still in the middle of this pandemic and we are seeing new infections surge all across the world. And even here in Toronto over the past 3 days, we've seen numbers of new infections above 200, which is a significant uptick for us here. So I wanted to stay informed. I wanted to know what was happening. And instead of cutting out social media completely, I still ended up posting here and there. I stopped my blog. I stopped sending my newsletter, but I was still somewhat engaged on Instagram and Facebook. Even though my engagement on social media was limited, one thing I did do was limit my contact with other people. I really needed time to think. I really needed time to myself. So I was intent about not checking messages on WhatsApp, not checking Facebook Messenger. And it wasn't until I decided to come up for air when I realized how cut off from the world I'd actually become. I mean, I'm not one to really use Facebook Messenger, but it's there because I do know that some of my friends occasionally send me messages that way, but I'm just really bad about checking them. And in August, a good friend of mine, it was her daughter's birthday, and I had marked it on my calendar. The day came and went, And I am probably one of the worst people in the world for remembering other people's birthdays. So it was on August 20th where I was like, oh my God, I forgot Poppy's birthday. And I sent a text message to my friend to say, please wish your daughter a happy belated birthday from Uncle Marcus. And the message that came back was a bit uncharacteristic for my friend. And it was something along the lines of, you don't check your messages on Facebook Messenger often, right? And I kind of got my back up, but instinctively, I went and opened up Facebook Messenger. And there was a message 10 days ago that sent me spinning. The message was from my friend's husband, letting me know that she had been medevaced to Edmonton and that the preliminary diagnosis was brain cancer. So that was 10 days earlier. By the time I read the message, the diagnosis had been confirmed, and I was shell-shocked. I really couldn't believe it. My friend is 45 years old, a mother of 2 children under 5, highly respected in her field, worked long and hard to earn her doctorate, and has just been someone who is so engaged in her community, is so involved in the lives of her students, and really works hard to help them succeed. And she's more than just a friend. She's like a sister to me because she's been there for me through thick and thin. She's been there in the good times. She's been there in the bad. So I have this news on Facebook Messenger that leaves me stunned. And probably for about the first 3 days after reading it, I couldn't function. I didn't sleep, didn't really eat, couldn't focus. I just didn't know what to believe. My friend's a fighter. I know she will do whatever she needs to do to get her health back. That she will have the attitude that this is not going to defeat her, that she will triumph. But it reminded me that we really need to make each day count because we do not know what tomorrow has in store for us. Will we be fortunate enough to carry on for the next 20, 30 years healthy with all of our cognitive abilities intact and be able to live the lives that we have imagined for ourselves? Or will we be like my friend who all of a sudden is now faced with a health emergency? It makes me understand the importance of doing what is in our heart, of doing what truly matters to us. It is a reminder that today is the day where we can begin anew, where we can take a step forward to achieving the dreams, the projects, everything that we've put off because we said tomorrow. Or we've said, when I retire. But we don't know that tomorrow is coming for us. We don't know what life will be like when we retire. And just to give you another example, my father's retired at 55. And he kept saying his whole life that he was going to travel when he retired. He was going to play more golf when he retired. 6 months into his retirement, my father was diagnosed with cancer. The doctors gave him 18 months and he lived a little bit longer, but he was gone at 58. So we cannot wait. Now is the time. So it doesn't matter if you want to write a book, open a coffee shop. Maybe you want to be more involved in the current fight for social and racial injustice. Maybe you just want to be able to be the better mom, a better brother, a better friend. Why wait? Because doing nothing shouldn't be an option. Helen Keller was right as well when she said security is mostly a superstition. Life is either a daring adventure or nothing. That's why at the beginning of this episode, I started with those quotes by a lot of people you probably recognize. Because now is the time, not just to dream, but to act. Now is the time to believe. Now is the time to step out on faith and move forward. Now is the time to stand up for what really matters. Now is the time to make it count. And ask yourself this: are you making today count? Thanks for listening. To learn more about me and my journey, or to receive exclusive content, consider joining my mailing list by visiting marcuslopes.ca/subscribe. Thanks again for joining me. Be sure to tune in again soon for another episode of the Black Sweater Talk podcast. Be well, stay safe, live your best life.